Okay, let's talk about building real, valuable AI skills. There's this idea floating around that the only way to get in on the action is to become a programmer. Well, we're here to tell you why that's just plain wrong.
So, has this happened to you yet? You get that email from on high about an AI upskilling initiative. You click on it, all hopeful, and it's a link to a Python course. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, great. Am I about to be replaced by someone who knows how to code?
Well, listen up, because this is for every single expert out there. Whether you're in finance, marketing, operations, you name it. For most of you, that email was wrong. It is fundamentally the wrong advice.
We have got to reframe this entire conversation. Because this idea that you need to learn to code to use AI, it's actually holding back the very people who need this technology the most.
Here's the big misunderstanding we've all bought into, that AI skills are the same thing as coding skills. But the reality, especially for you, the seasoned professional, the true AI skill is judgment.
Look, your value isn't in building the AI model from scratch. It's in bringing your years, your decades of hard-won experience to the table. It's that deep gut-level understanding of your field that AI desperately needs. That is something it literally cannot generate on its own.
So if it's not about coding, then what are the real skills you should be focusing on? Let's break down the 5 core skills that actually matter for practitioners. Yeah, not for developers, but for the people on the front lines actually using this stuff.
These 5 skills really build on each other. It all starts with knowing what questions to ask. Then, it's about reading the answers with a critical eye. From there, you learn to see the failures before they happen, design workflows that have a human safety net, and finally, plug AI into your larger systems for some real change. Let's dig into each one.
First up, prompt design. And no, this is so much more than just typing a question into a chat box. It's the art of knowing what to ask in the first place. Your 15 years of experience, that's what lets you frame a precise, context-rich question. A new hire can't do that, not because they don't know Python, but because they don't have your mental map of the problem.
Second is what you could call the audit skill. This is not about passively accepting what the AI gives you. It's about active interrogation. It's that same gut feeling you get when a number on a spreadsheet just looks off. You have to look at the AI's output and ask, okay, but does this actually make sense in the real world? Is it missing something important? That's an audit.
And that audit skill is absolutely crucial for number 3, failure analysis. You have to know that AIs fail in very predictable ways. They just make things up. They produce these confident, plausible-sounding answers that are totally wrong. They're bad with recent events. Knowing these weak spots before they blow up into a real business problem is a non-negotiable skill.
Right, so once you know where AI is likely to trip up, you can move on to our 4th skill, workflow design. This is where you become the architect of the whole human-AI team. The big skill here is looking at any process and deciding deliberately, okay, the AI does this part and then it stops and an expert steps in right here. You design that crucial moment for human judgment. And the 5th and final skill, systems thinking. This is the difference between saving 5 minutes and actually changing the game. I mean, sure, using AI to write an email faster is nice, but it doesn't transform your department. Using AI to handle the repetitive, low-stakes work so that your team is freed up for the high-stakes, high-judgment work, now that is transformation.
So when you put all 5 of these skills together, you get this incredibly powerful new way of thinking about your job. It's not about humans versus AI. It's about what it means to be human greater than AI.
Let's be crystal clear about what modern AI is really good at. It produces confident, plausible-sounding information. And that's what makes it both incredibly useful and incredibly dangerous.
And this is where you come in. An AI left to its own devices isn't just a tool, it's a potential liability. Your job is to be the human in the loop who can look at that plausible-sounding output and say, nope, not good enough. Here's the critical piece of the puzzle you missed.
And this brings us to the single most important takeaway of this whole thing. That person, the one who can guide, correct, and audit an AI effectively, that is a human whose value goes up precisely because AI exists. Your expertise isn't becoming obsolete, it's becoming the essential safety check, the quality control, the translator that makes AI both useful and safe. That is what human greater than AI really means.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually start building these skills? Well, here is a simple, concrete thing you can do this week to get started.
I want you to try this little exercise. First, just pick one workflow you do all the time, something you know inside and out. Second, Map out 3 to 5 of the most repetitive, low-judgment parts of that workflow. And finally, and this is the important part, pinpoint the one step in that process where, if you mess it up, things go badly. There's a real consequence.
You see that point of consequence you just found? That's it. That's the key. That is the exact spot where a human checkpoint is absolutely non-negotiable. That is the moment where your expertise is irreplaceable. That is your value.
And that brings us to our final thought for you to take back to your work. Ask yourself this question. What part of my workflow needs a human checkpoint that can never and should never be automated? Answering that question is the first real step to building your future-proof AI skill set.